What's going on, world? And welcome back to the Pursuit of the Good Life podcast, your favorite podcast that helps you grow both personally and professionally. I'm your host with the most, your favorite coach, the Cameron Lovelace, helping you create your version of the good life every single Thursday. Yo, how y'all doing? It is June. That means summer is around the corner. I know a lot of kids are getting out of school. I know a lot of my clients that are kids are getting out of school, and it's like, whoo, this first full year of pandemic, virtual learning, some not, some in, some halfway in, halfway out. Like, I know everybody's like, wow, like we finally get into the road, and I know everybody's, getting vaccinated and they're looking to go on vacation and do all that type of stuff. So I love like this season that we're walking into. It's just very interesting to me that where we are right now, and so I like the direction that we're going into. It's a sad day for me. The Grizzlies have officially been eliminated from playoff contention. Uh, we did well. We did well. I even went to a playoff game in person, and yeah, it was just a rough day for Grizzlies fans, but it's okay. Got the experience, and we're gonna continue to fight. I have a feeling that we're gonna continue to grow. We're gonna get better next year and learn from this experience. All right. Shout out to the Utah Jazz fans of the podcast who are supporting them. So that y'all got a good squad this year. Y'all actually might do it this year, but y'all know that we've been talking about for the last 4 weeks. We've been talking about mental health, and it's interesting because this week we're talking about mental health again, but we're talking about something very specific with taking care of your mental health. And I definitely got to talk about it because it's kind of getting a lot of attention right now with Naomi Osaka. And for those of y'all who are not in the sports world or know what's going on in the sports world, Naomi Osaka is a beast in tennis. Like, she has beaten Serena a couple times at the latest opens and stuff like that. So she's a beast. When Serena is done, she will definitely be the reigning women's champion. Like that's without a doubt. But where mental health is coming into is because she actually dropped out of the French Open this week because she said that she's taking care of her mental health. She's publicly said that she struggles with social anxiety and depression, which is probably the two most common mental health. I don't want to call them diseases. Mental health issues. Mental health. Those are the two most common mental health issues that people deal with, right? And so this first started when she said she wasn't going to be doing media availability to really stop the press and questions and stuff like that, like to help basically throw off her game and like cause her to do that. And so if well, maybe you guys don't know, but if you suffer from depression and social anxiety, the opinion of others can throw you all the way off, and then you're in a I've talked about on previous episodes, your mind can be your biggest enemy in that scenario, and it can be triggered by just any little thing, right? So she chose to not do that, right? She chose to she said that I'm not going to be doing any media availability. I will pay the fine. I know I'm going to get fined, and I'll pay the fine, but this is what I need to do to be at my best, right? Well, she even doubled down on that and made sure that she's going to take care of herself first before competing. And she said, you know what? I'm not all the way right. I got to step away from that, right? And it's interesting because I'm seeing both sides, right? I'm seeing people like support her and like love her, cheer her on, and then I'm looking at the people who really don't understand mental health, and they're like, you should just play, like you should be able to fight through it. And well, Serena and Venus are able to push through it. They've never done this before. Well, Venus and Serena, they're two different people. Serena and Venus both came out and supported Naomi for her decision because they recognize that they are three different people, and that they handle things very differently. Everybody, each one of us deals with our own different level of adversity, right? But so Naomi made the decision to protect herself, right? And I love it because it's a great example for clients like that I have, because typically, and it's not just my clients, I'm sure maybe you probably have this issue too. People have a tendency to hesitate to put up boundaries, to put up walls to protect themselves from going off the deep end, right? Like most people, people say, I have a wall up as far as a relationship and stuff like that. Yeah, that's cool and all. But when it comes to doing something that you know is going to be harmful for your mental health, harmful for your emotional health, harmful for, like, that it's going to be rough on you and you still go through with it, that is where you're really going to run into some issues down the line. And so what Naomi did, she made sure to put herself first in this scenario. Yes, it could be cool if I win the French Open. Yeah, I could probably beat a few people. But when I get home every night, when I'm getting out of every single press release, I'm going to be breaking down, crying, and that is detrimental to my health, which is obviously bad for my overall health, but it's also going to affect how I play further on in the tournament, which is just going to go worse and worse and worse and worse and worse, right? So those of you who may not be a professional tennis athlete, but you're engaging in consistent activities where people are breaking your boundaries, people are causing stress on you, people are giving you the biggest of headache, but you just taking it, I need you to put some boundaries up. I need you to tap out. It's okay to bow out. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to say, you know what? I need a mental health day. And you know what? I heard something that day is that when you need a mental health day, it's okay to just text your supervisor and say, hey, I don't feel well today. I'm not coming in. Period. That's it. You don't need no explanation. You don't need no, this is a stress relief day. I just need to woosah, because if I come in, I'm going to go off on somebody. I'm going to go off on a customer. I'm going to go off on a client. I'm going to go off on a patient, wherever your work situation is. You are making sure that your best self shows up, because if your best self does not show up, then that's going to affect everything and everybody at work, right? And so I want to ask you guys today, as far as your mental health goes, what boundaries are you really struggling with? What boundaries do you struggle with? So what I remember, like way back in the day, back when I was in college, I think my biggest struggle as far as my boundaries was my grades. Like, I did not put up boundaries for my study time, for my grades. Like, for those of y'all who don't know, I was, like, as far as being active and engaged, I was NPHC president. I was all Greek. I was, of course, I was alpha. I was on the step team. I was on judicial board. I was an RA. I was a mentor. I was doing a lot, right? But I valued those things more, and I put more time and energy into that. But because I did that and I didn't prioritize my grades suffered. And I didn't put my best foot forward when it came to, like, in the classroom and studying and putting in the time outside of class that was spent towards, volunteering, doing programs, step teams, step shows, all these types of things that I had the time for. I moved that time into them instead of prioritizing for my grades. Right. And so you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror and say, Cam, you slacking in one big gaping hole in your area, right? There's an area in your life that's a big train wreck, and it's not anything that's complicated, but you can correct it. However, you have to put up boundaries with everyone else. And here's the thing about boundaries that I think people, like, can't really understand, is that you are putting boundaries up to not keep away other people, not to push out people, but to protect yourself. That's the biggest thing about enforcing boundaries and saying the biggest cuss word, no. Some of y'all can't even say it. Like to whoever family member, whoever friend, y'all just can't say no. But here's the thing. If you don't say no to them, then you're not saying yes to yourself. I'm gonna say that again. If you don't say no to going out, if you don't say no to wasting time, if you don't say no to other people impeding your space, causing stress, or maybe even adding too much pleasure that's taking you away from the things you need to do, you're not saying yes to your own mental health. You're not saying yes to you grinding on your own projects. You're not saying yes to your family. You're not saying yes to your potential and your progress. That's what happens when you don't enforce your own boundaries. So you have to enforce those boundaries. Well, Cam, how do I go about doing it? Um, you gonna have to practice. You gonna have to practice saying no. Like you gonna have to you gonna have to practice saying no. Like seriously, like you might need to look yourself in the mirror and like say, Cam, or whatever your name is, I need to do this, so I am not going to go out to brunch with my girlfriends. I need to do this, so I am going to not play the video game tonight. I'm going to go to bed at a certain time. I'm going to do this first. I'm going to do that first because I need to work on this, or I need to take care of myself tonight. Boundaries, saying no to others and saying yes to yourself. It's very important. So yeah, you might need to practice. Like you need like, and I mean it, like verbally saying things, speaking things into the atmosphere. It makes a huge difference. I don't know what it is about it. Well, yes, I do. It's biblical based, but it just releases things into the atmosphere so you can be accustomed to saying no, I can't tonight. No, I can't go out tonight. No, I can't do this. No, I can't do that. I have to do this instead. You feel me? And so you might need to practice. But I think the biggest thing, which is number two, the biggest thing that you need to do when enforcing boundaries is to learn how to value yourself more. You see, people who have a problem enforcing boundaries care about other people more than they care about themselves. That's a big, big, big problem. You cannot be the best version of yourself if you do not take care of yourself first. As I've told many, many RAs back when I was in residence life, you can't pour out of an empty cup. You can't pour out of an empty bucket. Whatever analogy you want to use, if you're on E, you can't pour into other people, which means you can't be your best version of yourself, right? And so when you're enforcing boundaries, you got to realize that you are valuing yourself. You're valuing what it is that you need more than what the other person needs. And that's going to sting a little bit, but you got to realize you saying yes to yourself, you prioritizing yourself, your mental health needs, your priorities, your projects, whatever it is that you're working on, you have to prioritize that so that you can be a better friend. You have to prioritize your health so that you can be there for them when they need it. You feel me? You got to value yourself more than anybody else. More than anybody else. Even if you're married. Me as a husband, I care about myself. I care about my wife, of course, more than I care about myself. But I know that if I don't take care of myself, if I don't take care of my health, if I don't take care of my finances, if I don't take care of the things that I got going on, that's going to affect her. Obviously, I got to be there for her and stuff like that. But at the same time, I got to make sure that I'm taken care of too. Right? And so you who struggle with implementing boundaries, you have to value yourself and what you need to be your best self first. So what is that for you? Do you need to get more sleep? Do you need to actually eat more than once a day, or are you struggling even to eat? Period. Are you too busy scrolling on Instagram? Do you need to do some meditations? Do you need to pray more? Do you need to get into a support group? What is it that you need to be the best version of yourself and implementing it? And why aren't you implementing it? Why? What's keeping it from you? Why aren't you prioritizing yourself, your own health, more than anybody else? I guarantee you it's okay if you don't show up that one night. I guarantee you it's going to be okay if you don't do whatever they're asking you to do. I guarantee you they'll find somebody else or they'll make it through. I guarantee you it's going to be okay. They will not die. They will survive. More importantly, you have to survive and you have to make it, or else you're going to crash and burn. And when you crash and burn, and see, this is the ugly side of not enforcing boundaries, is when you have a breakdown and when you crash and burn. Because everybody's crash and burn is different. For Naomi Osaka, it's her breaking down, crying, maybe even being in a fetal position, hyperventilating, maybe breathing hard, her not being able to talk to anybody, constantly just think like rocking herself. You know what I'm saying? She probably having like a really mental health crisis when she's in her burnout situation. But for you, it might be getting plastered. For you, it might be going off on somebody over the littlest thing. For you, it might be completely and utterly isolating yourself and not checking your phone, maybe just sitting in the dark, watching, or rather the movies are watching you. What you don't want is for you not to enforce boundaries, and then people keep pushing, more stuff gets piled and piled and piled and piled, and then eventually there's a big explosion. And now you're forced to lay down. You're forced to recover. It's just like getting an oil change, right? It's just, for those of you who are not familiar, I'll tell the story again. My little brother, when he got his first car, he was, he was riding, and 3 months turned into 6 months, turned into 9 months. He never got an oil change. And that car, one day, was smoking. And we asked him, like, what was going on? He said, man, I never got, no? Did you ever get the oil change? No. Bruh, you supposed to get the oil change every 3 months. Or every so much on the mileage. But because he didn't know that cost him the car. But just like you, who needs that weekly maintenance, who needs that monthly maintenance, who's ignoring the check engine light on, you about to crash and burn. So I need you to enforce some boundaries today. Like I need you to enforce some social and health boundaries so that you can be a better version of yourself. I'm challenging you today to go out and do it. You know what? I'm even going to challenge myself to do it so that I can actually get some more sleep and get some more work done. Because when I'm going to be honest with y'all, the later I stay up, the more likely I'm not going to get up in the morning and work out, which means I'm going to wake up later, which means I'm going to have to get straight to work, which means straight to my meetings, straight to answering emails, which means I'm probably not working out. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to start putting boundaries in place for me to start going to bed sooner. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to be the first one to take accountability. I'm look myself in the mirror and say, Cam, you want to work out. You want to get it in the morning so that you can get your day started feeling good, get in the shower good. That means you're going to have to go to sleep earlier. Hold yourself accountable, right? And even if you can't hold yourself accountable, get an accountability partner. Get somebody to tell you and call you out. Say, hey, man, you said you were trying to do this, right? All right. So let's get up and let's do it. It's important to have people in your corner when setting boundaries. And if you got friends who don't understand that boundaries, hey, it might be the season to let that friend go. It just might be the season for you to let that friend go. And find friends who really understand what you're going through and what you need and their role in your life. All right. All right. That's our show. That's what we got for the day. I want you to go out there and enforce a boundary so that you can get to a better mindset, to get to a better health set, to get to just a better place, man. You got to enforce those boundaries, right? Shout out to Naomi Osaka. Hope that you get well soon and that the next tournament that you enter, you absolutely kill it. Cool. All right, y'all. For those of y'all watching on Facebook, those of y'all watching on iTunes, no. For those of y'all watching on YouTube, for those of y'all watching on Facebook, do me a huge favor and smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. The biggest way to support the podcast is to subscribe wherever that you consume this podcast at. So if you're listening to this on YouTube or listen to this on iTunes, go ahead and subscribe. Speaking of iTunes, go ahead and get us that 5-star review. You know, we don't do anything less, only 5 stars only. It really is a big help. All right, guys, y'all know how we do. We help you guys create your version of a good life every single Thursday. But until then, we'll see you next week.